So now we are going to start your plan, and I already have some of it filled out, and I'm going to walk you through what starting your plan is all about and why it's really important. So on page 29, it starts with the MyFitLife wheel. And why is this so important? We want to get a balanced, holistic, 360-degree view of your health and fitness. And these are 7 areas critically important to your health and fitness. We have mindset, sleep quality, flexibility, muscle, cardio, stress management, and nutrition. I have 6 of these already filled out, and I'm going to fill out the final one with you and walk you through this. So remember, on each page there is a reference to a how-to guide, and this is no exception. We're going to go to the how-to guide here. So here's an example, and we are looking for our how to score the MyFitLife wheel. And each category here has a letter that corresponds to a scoring guide here. So I'm going to fill out the nutrition part here right now. So on nutrition is G, and it's a 0 to 10 scale. So 0 is you regularly eat fast food, starchy carbs, soda, and juice. 3 to 6 is you occasionally eat fast food, starchy carbs, soda, and juice. And 6 to 8 is you occasionally eat fresh prepared food, vegetables, fruits, and water. And 8 to 10 is you regularly eat fresh prepared food, vegetables, fruits, and water. I'm going to give myself a score of 8. And with that score of 8, I have my black bookmark here, and I use my white bookmark to go to the beginning. And what I'm going to do is, since I gave myself a score of 8, I'll start in the middle of the circle and count 8 spokes up. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to draw a line across and shade it in. And now I have a holistic approach of my health and fitness. As you can see, remember, the middle of the circle is 0 to 3. That's, you need a lot of help, or it's intervention time, you have to change something. Outside is 6 to 10, ideally where you should be. You notice mine, I scored lowest in sleep quality. I'm only getting about 6 hours of sleep right now. I'm doing some new videos for the hardcover launch. I'm a founder and owner of a gym. I have employees. I have other projects too. And I'm not sleeping as much. I'm loving life, but I'm not sleeping as much. So I'm going to use sleep quality as a platform to create a habit. So on the next page is choosing a habit. And step 1, you can see, is you're going to put where you scored the lowest on the wheel. Mine is sleep quality. And then after that, I'm going to choose one habit to break or create in that area, and it's going to be get 7 hours of sleep. And then next up, again, that is to create a habit. We're going to use these habit create worksheets to bring habit science to life. And I've already filled out the first day and the second day. And this is a new planner. And so I'm filling it out for the first time. And basically is you want to ask yourself these questions. When you're creating a habit, it's not enough to say, I just want to do it. That is the old way of doing habits. The new way is you got to ask yourself questions. For example, what time does this habit occur? I filled out 10 p.m. Where will you be? I filled out my room. Who else will be around? Right now, nobody. And what action preceded it? I'm doing 10 breaths. It's a trigger. And you got to ask yourself, what emotion do you think you'll feel? And I put relaxed. After you create these triggers, and it may take a few times to figure out the right triggers. You don't need all 5. Sometimes it takes 1, sometimes it takes 2. You're going to start circling that trigger. Next up, you want to ask yourself, what reward will you give yourself once you've done this? Mine is actually coffee for the next day. And after you give yourself a reward, you want to write some notes down like, did you enjoy the reward? And I wrote down yes, exclamation mark. I had lots of energy. So I had 7 hours of sleep last night and I had coffee. And I'm gonna do this habit experiment for at least 3 days. And so tonight I have the same thing. I'm gonna fill this out and you'll notice 10 breaths I did. My alarm went off too as well to alert me to go to sleep. And I was in my room and it was 10 p.m. So I circled those 4 things. And tonight I'm gonna go ahead and circle those things again. And I'm gonna do it for a 3rd day. And I encourage you to do this, 1 or 2 sheets. We have extra ones in the back you can look up. And the question is, when do you know when to stop doing these worksheets? When you no longer have to think about it. Now that can take a week, a few weeks, a month. Everyone's different. In the back, I give an example of breaking my habit for too many protein bars. It actually took me 2 weeks to get rid of my habit. And everyone's different. So that's how you create a habit. And I would transfer all this to your daily and weekly planning. For example, here's what I want to start. Get 7 hours of sleep. Here's my triggers, 10 p.m. And what you'll notice in my weekly planner, I have my habit in bed by 10 p.m. That also matches my daily planner, which is, it says, what am I committed to? Adding leverage to the big 3, that's confidential, and in bed by 10 p.m. Last night, you'll notice I gave myself an ecstatic smiley face because I was in bed on time. So that's one of the ways you would create a habit. And again, there is flowcharts in the back so you can visualize this. Now the next question is, Chris, what if I want to break a habit? How do I do that? So we actually have a habit break example. And so say for example, mine was protein bars. I was relying way too much on protein bars. Anyone who's in the gym a lot can possibly relate. And so I wanted to break this habit. So again, it's not enough saying I just want to do something. You must have a system. And so whenever this urge came up, I would get my habit sheet out and I would ask myself questions. Where was I at? What time was it? What emotional state was I in? And who else was around? And what action preceded it? And then after 3 days, I noticed the same triggers kept popping up. For example, my emotional state, I was monotoned. What action preceded it? I was sitting in front of my laptop. And you're gonna experiment with asking yourself, what craving do you think the habit is satisfying? I at first thought it was energy. And then you wanna ask yourself, what are other ways you can meet that urge? And so I thought, I'll try a protein shake instead. That didn't work. And then I tried a change in scenery, because maybe it's, in that one area. So walk around and listen to music. That didn't work either. It worked for like a day or 2. And then I tried to socialize. I would go to like the grocery store and maybe talk to, somebody I thought, was a cute girl. We'd flirt back and forth. And that did work for a few days, but I brought more protein bars so I can talk to her. And so I had to combine many things. I had to combine energy plus a change in scenery. So I actually had to combine many things you'll see here. I had to combine a protein shake, almonds, and walking with music. And I had the energy, the change in scenery, and I had to choose something like almonds. And then I finally was able to break my bad habit and replace it with the protein shake, almonds, and walking around with a change of music. So that is how you would go through your habit break or create worksheets. Let me go through the back and give you another reference. So in-depth habit science. So if you want to learn a little bit more in depth about this, you'll see it says habits here on the side. Again, I go through what I went through in changing my habits. Nice little journey. And this is, if you take nothing else out of this video, it's these key questions to ask yourself. Remember, a habit loop has 3 things: a trigger, a routine, and a reward. So these are the 5 questions. You must identify the cue or trigger. What time is it? Where are you? Who else is around? What did you just do? And what emotions are you feeling? And you'll start noticing that the same trigger comes up. We all know it's easier to drink and eat unhealthy when you're around certain friends, or if you're out, or if you're maybe at work and they provide a lot of food for you. So asking these 5 questions is fundamental to creating or breaking a habit. So that is the intro to starting your plan and creating or breaking a habit. What else do we have in our first week? Again, what I would do is I would put 1 bookmark in the create or break worksheet, so you have that reference at all times. Next up is your 12-week progress chart. Now, it's pretty straightforward. You would start with your body weight, and what we encourage you to do is there's a little handheld device you can buy online off Amazon. It's very inexpensive. It's $15 to $30, and it is quick and easy to get your body fat percentage, and it shows you if you're going in the right direction or not. We have this how-to guide, easy step-by-step process how you can calculate your body fat percentage and your lean muscle tissue. This is super important because, as one of my mentors told me, is the body weight tells the truth with chapters missing. So you want to get the full truth here and keep track of this over 12 weeks. Next up is you're going to start your weekly planning. And again, this is my own real life example. You're going to set the agenda for exercise. Mine is strength train 6 days per week. And nutrition is eat every 3 hours and then in bed by 10 p.m. And again, we have some free space for you. Your shopping list I fill out and I check off once I'm done. You have your reference here to a list in the back. And this is really awesome stuff. This is your food journal. Very important. I filled out Monday. Again, this is a new journal for me. And I just filled out some of Tuesday. Step 1 is you're simply going to write your food down. And then you'll notice you're going to start writing your tally system just like you learn in grade school. And there's a little legend here on what a portion size is. And so you're going to tally. And at the end of the day, you're going to tally out the total on each food group. And there's a great how-to guide on page 284. And so this is the how-to guide. And again, step 1, write down your food. Here's an example. Step 2, you're gonna use this portion control guide at the bottom to mark every time you have a portion, just like this in the tally system. And step 3, you're gonna count the total amount at the end of the day. And then step 4 is you're gonna refer to the portion control guide on the next page here, 286, on making an adjustment whether or not you add or take away portion sizes. So you'll notice here, if you need more food because you wanna gain a little weight, if you're a man, you have some recommendations on adding food. If you're a woman, you have some recommendations on adding servings too as well. Now, if you need less food because you wanna lose weight, we have recommendations for both men and women on decreasing the amount of servings. So again, use this guide. Everyone asks me all the time, Chris, what is the best nutrition plan? And my answer always is, it's the one you adhere to. Everyone's different, okay? So use this plan. What I encourage you to do with the food tracking is you start by doing only 1 to 2 days per week. What we found is when you try to do 5, 6, 7 days, more times than not, you don't do it. And when you don't follow through on that goal, you kind of fall into what I call a negative feedback loop. So I encourage you to do 1 to 2 days starting off, and that'll kind of give you an average of what you're doing during the week. So right now, I have 10 servings of protein. I had 3 fat servings, 2 vegetable servings, 5 servings of carbs, 0 caloric beverages, only 2 glasses of water, and 1 sugar serving. So what I need to do now, I need to increase my water and increase my vegetables because I want to gain some weight, and I'll also increase my carbs a little too. I'm fine with gaining a little weight right now. Next up, this is your meat and vegetables of the planner, and it starts off today's date and a new inspirational quote. Setting the agenda, what am I grateful for? So I wrote down my family's health and doing what I love for a living. What am I committed to? Adding leverage to the big 3 and in bed by 10 p.m. And this is really important to me because it will give me a full battery to enjoy the day and have impact. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna go ahead and rate these things. You'll see yesterday, I rated exercise as static. I put the note 60 minutes. Nutrition was really good. I did my food journal. Smiley face here. I was in bed on time. And then at the end of the week, we want to do our weekly review. You're going to celebrate the small wins. Sometimes things are much better than what we think they are. So I encourage you to celebrate the small wins and also go over what missions did you not complete this week and how can you recommit to these tasks and commit with maybe an accountability partner or a coach. And then what did you learn this week? What can you improve on? How will you use this information to your advantage? Super important. You're going to start recognizing patterns. And then obviously we have some free space for your notes. Again, I really encourage you to write stuff down. There is something magical that happens when people write stuff down and you rise to the level of your system. So I encourage you to write as much stuff down, all your thoughts, start recognizing patterns, and that is pretty much starting your plan. Each week you're gonna have a new story in a coach's corner. And if you look at the table of contents here, we're gonna start week 1. Week 6, you're gonna reevaluate your wheel. Week 12, you're going to reevaluate the wheel. And let me remind you, there's lots of blank sheets for choosing a habit, creating a habit, and breaking a habit. It may take you 1, 2, 3, or 4, or even 5 worksheets to break or create that habit. And I'm gonna go over a few resources in the back, starting with the food journal. We went over that. Portion control guide, meal prep guide, I'll go over 288. So remember, we have portion control guide, how to make a meal here. So there's good reference here. So if you're not sure what to do, quick, easy reference here. You just need your hands. We have our meal prep guide. So quick, easy steps to meal prep. Really important, go to the store with a game plan. The store is set up to really put unhealthy stuff in front of you, especially at the checkout section. So navigate the store like a pro. Here's your shopping list for each week. Again, this is your reference. Each week you fill this out. And here are your plates with some really useful strategies at the bottom. So we also have vegetarian options too as well. Resources in the back or recipes, again, you have vegetarian options. And that is pretty much it for starting your plan. And again, the other sheet is the first page, how to use your planner. Be sure to check out the website for more videos too as well. And have a fit life.